In today's video, I'm gonna show you the best Technomancer build for damage, since a lot of you guys requested it and my build finally feels really complete. This build do require quite a lot of unique mods, so on top of that I will try to guide you a bit what you can start with before you get all the pieces for the best Technomancer build. But before we get this video started, I just wanna let you guys know that I do make Outriders videos like this daily. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I've been watching the analytics and it's actually only 25% of you guys that are subscribed. So I mean, if you're gonna keep watching my videos, you might as well just hit the subscribe button. On top of that, I also do live stream Outriders daily on twitch.tv/widdz. So if you have any Outriders questions or you just wanna watch some chill gameplay, then make sure you follow that as well. Anyway, with all that said, let's get this video started. So let's dive straight into the actual skills here. So I'm actually using Shrapnel instead of using Cold Snap, which a lot of people do use. This build is 100% focused on damage. That's like all I'm trying to do. So if you want to have some more survivability, you could use Cold Snap instead. But the reason I use Shrapnel is just to have an ordnance to trigger the skill tree to get damage. Same with the Blighted Turret. That's a decay skill, so we want to use that one just to trigger damage in the skill tree, which I will go into later. And then of course also Blighted Rounds, because they are super freaking strong. So pretty straightforward with the skills here. You could swap the Blighted Turret as well to a Cryo Turret, but if you want to make people into ice, you can do that with the Blighted Turret, which we will get into later. So those are the skills. So we take a quick look here at the skill tree. So we go for Weapon Life Leech. Then we go down in this tree as well for the crit damage, but most importantly, exposing Toxic to make them vulnerable. And on top of that, vulnerability gets stronger. Decrease the long range damage, weapon damage. And here we got the Cannonade, and that's why we're using Shrapnel and not using Cold Snap, because then we'll lose 30% weapon damage, which works for 10 seconds and also to your allies. So that's a super strong talent to get weapon damage. Then more weapon damage, and then Assault Master, since we're using an AR. More assault weapon damage. Glass Cannon talent here for more damage. Long range weapon damage increase. Mag size. Purge. And then of course Empowering Antenna, which also is the reason why we use the Blight Turret instead of the Cryo Turret, because we want to get that 40% weapon damage for you and your allies. So that's basically the skill tree. I think it's pretty straightforward if you play a damage build. That's just the best way you can do it. So before I actually show you the best build for damage in terms of Technomancer, I want to go through some mods here which you could be using before you get some of the tier 3 and tier 2 mods that you need later. So I'm not going to use Cold Snap, but talking about the Blighted Turret earlier, you can use Ice Component if you want to have some CC and turn them into freeze, which it's pretty good until you get really good damage. Other than that, it's all gonna be about the Blighted Rounds. So Trick Up the Sleeve is like a must-have, just so you don't have to reload your weapon. So while the skill is active, Killing Shot grants you 30 extra bullets into your mag. And if you have a burst AR with this, you never lose your bullets. Other than that, if you do have a problem, you can use Spare Mag, but honestly, I don't see that there should be any reason for you to use that. But if you have a problem to keep your rounds up, you could add that into the build. And then we have this crit here for Blighted Rounds. I don't use that, but you could use that if you hit a lot of headshots and crits, just for more damage. Other than that, in tier 1, I don't think there's too many interesting mods that I would recommend. If we go to tier 2, we have a Toxic Lid, which I would recommend to use over the tier 1 mod. But if you don't have the Toxic Lid yet, you can use the tier 1 mod that I just went through. Other talents that are good at tier 2 is also Dum Dum Bullets. I did some testing and this was actually better than the tier 3 talent, the Kingslayer, which I was quite surprised with the results, but I tested it and it actually did, I think, 2% less damage to elite. So definitely I would recommend Dum Dum Bullets, because I didn't think it would be stronger, but apparently it is. And also more uptime. You do a little bit less damage, 2-3% on elites, but you get damage all the time, right? Other talent we have here, which is Mitigation from Death, which is a pretty damn good talent to use. So if you don't have Emergency Stance, or if Emergency Stance gets fixed, you would use this one instead. Just ADS and get armor. And if you don't know emergency stance, it's this one. You basically get the golem effect, which is like 75% damage reduction, I think. But this one is currently bugged, so you get it procced and it stays on forever. So when that is fixed, I would recommend to do mitigation from death. Other than that, I mean, if you don't have good damage mods, you could use like stand tall, which gives you some weapon damage. It's not the best, but it gives you damage. Radical therapy, really good one. Definitely want to use that because everything is going to be affected by toxic. Then we also have bloodlust, which is insanely strong, so definitely try to get that as well. But I think that is the tier 2 mods. If we take a look at tier 3 mods that I would recommend, we have Captain Hunter, which is a must-have, super strong, 25% damage against elites, and it's against elites and bosses where the damage really matters. Then we have Sharp Eye, which is super strong as well. 16,000 firepower that stacks up to 3, and that stays for 20 seconds, so that stays super long. Super good one. Luckily I got that yesterday, I think. Then we have Kingslayer, which is definitely a good talent, but it's not the best actually. And in my testing, I actually scrapped this one because Dum Dum Bullets, as I said, was just more effective. And this only is crit hits on elites as well. And then we have Splash Boost, which I got yesterday. And this one paired with Bone Shrapnel that we will get into later is just really good. It makes ad clear going so fast. And I recorded one with it and one without it. You can see a big difference. We take a look at the mods here. So we have tier 2 mod here, Bone Shrapnel, which is really good for ad clear, especially if you also use the splash mod. But even if you don't have the splash mod, having Bone Shrapnel is just insane. So I did make a video on how to get this AR, so I would definitely recommend to check that one if you're looking for like a really good weapon for your Technomancer build. If you don't have Bone Shrapnel, I would recommend to use Minefield. It's not as good, but it's doing kind of the same thing with a delay since it drops mines. It's a pretty good solution if you don't have Bone Shrapnel. Other than that, I don't think there's too many good tier 2 mods that you can use. But when it comes to tier 3 mods, I would recommend to use Killing Spree, which drops from Amber Vault. It can be hard to get that since it is a legendary, but if you don't have that, also using the mod from Death Shield called the Fortress is also a really good one for just pure damage. But that's the talents that I would recommend. I know it might be hard to get those damage talents, but they're just on another level. So those are some of the mods that I would recommend. So try to get the ones that you can actually get. I know some of the tier 3 mods might be really hard to find though, but you will get them eventually and you just can try to make it work before that. So we already took a look at the AR. So Bone Shrapnel, Killing Spree, really good. So if we take a look at my actual gear pieces, so the trifecta roll in terms of attributes is bonus firepower, close range damage, and long range damage. I would say that long range damage is way more important than close range. Since we are Technomancer, we should be at mid to long range most of the time. And if we take a look at the mods here, we do have the tier 3 mod, Euphanizer, that deals 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by toxic. And you can find that on the legendary piece Plug Sower's Hand, which is a Technomancer legendary. I do believe you might be able to find that on another piece, but that's the only piece I know and where I got it. Then we also have Crit Stack, which is a talent I missed as well earlier. So critical shots build up a 5-second stacking effect that grants you 3000 anomaly power and 7700 firepower, adding up to a lot of damage. And since I personally go for headshots, you're gonna have this up all the time basically. Then we have the chest piece here with Captain Hunter, as I went through earlier, and also emergency stance for that survivability. As I said earlier, emergency stance is currently bugged, so whenever they fix that, I would replace that with mitigation from above, which I went through earlier. Then we have the Panzer with Splash Boost just to get the easier ad clear, and it's actually working insane with Bone Shrapnel, so definitely a good combo there. But if you want to hit super high crits, you could take away Splash Boost and put Kingslayer on there. But I think Splash Boost is really good to get those fast ad clears. And then of course Toxic Lead as well, just to keep the blighted rounds up all the time. Then we have the gloves, which is actually not a god roll since we do have cooldown reduction, so I'm gonna try to get better ones. But I think close range damage is not the biggest thing to miss, even though like you can feel it at times for sure. So looking at the mods here, we got Sharp Eye, which I did cover before. Damage when the AD is for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Really, really good. Gives you so much damage for such a long uptime. And then also Radical Therapy, 15% more damage against enemies afflicted by Toxic, which they're gonna be afflicted by all the time. Especially if you use a burst. The first bullet will use Toxic them, and the other 2 bullets will do more damage. Then we have the boots, which also is not perfect. Skill Life Leech instead of close range damage there. But apparently Skill Life Leech does work with blighted rounds, so it's not that bad. Worth to note though is that the Skill Life Leech does not work on twisted rounds on Trickster, in case you wanted to know, because I've tested that myself. So Dum Dum Bullets increased assault weapon damage by 10%. And I was using Kingslayer before, but after some testing, I just realized that Dum Dum Bullets are better, which kind of surprised me. It will not do more damage on elites, but it's 2% less and it's always up, so I just thought it's just way better. Then Bloodlust as well. Killing Shot increase your firepower by 17,000 and it stacks up to 3 times with uptime of 10 seconds, so really good as well. But that is basically the build. It feels like I forgot something now, but I hopefully covered everything here. And in case I missed something, or if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment section below and I will make sure I answer them. But with all that said, I will leave you guys with some gameplay from earlier today. And if you like this video, make sure you like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. And if you're interested in more Outriders videos like this, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I actually have some really good videos on the way that I'm quite excited about actually, so don't miss out on those. I also do live stream on twitch.tv, so make sure you follow there as well, and it might be an easier place to get your questions answered way faster. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay, and I catch you guys in the next video or on the live stream. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, having damage against elite and bosses are way more important than having damage against normal adds. For sure. But if the damage is... if there's barely any difference in the damage between Dum Dum Bullets and the Kingslayer, then there's no reason to use Kingslayer, right? Holy shit, the sense just got so high. Can we get used to this? I think this is just a bit too high. We need like 2.8, I think. This is too high. Holy shit. I hope there's an update soon. They've been really fucking quiet lately. I think Stargrave is easy to gold, right? So it doesn't matter if I like waste like a minute swapping sense, right? Because this sense is too high. I think 2.4 I had, so maybe 2.8 would be fine. Kind of would like to compare the splash as well. I do feel like splash is nice. Okay, let's do 2.8, yeah. A B selected. Is the 1 and 2, is that a B or what is it? I think it's a B, right? Is it supposed to be B selected? I think I never asked. Okay, so here's a good way, here's a good spot to really measure this, because there's a lot of elites here. So we did like 1.1 mil there. Almost 1.2, I think. That's fucking crazy. Sky Preacher with 101 bidders. Thank you so much for the 101, man. We need to have buffs there. Just kind of need to make sure we have all buffs in the world. I think it's the next phase. There's a lot of elites. It's basically here that we're gonna benchmark it later. Like right here. $1.25, dude. Holy shit, dude. How am I hitting so hard with Splash? What? How am I hitting so hard with Splash? That's fucking nuts. Like I could put Splash into like pure damage, right? And I would be hitting so fucking hard. I think I'm hitting like 1.250k. It's pretty fucking nuts. I don't know where to go here. I assume this spot would be good. Just have like overview of everything. Come on, don't hide. What's up, Dogsy? Yeah, the fact that I'm hitting that big numbers with splash damage, which doesn't impact like the single target hit, right? That's what I'm more surprised of. Oh, we didn't call it. We didn't cancel its skin. I'm still kind of noob on this one. I haven't played this one much at all. I feel like this was pretty smooth run though. It's an R? Oh, okay. Oh, true. How fast? 6 minutes. Not too bad, I guess. Okay, so now we're gonna go and swap Kingslayer to Dum Dum bullets, and we're gonna see the difference in damage. I have a hard time feeling that Dum Dum bullets will keep up with that, because that was fucking crazy damage on those elites. Inferno Sea, that's not bad. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have it. But that's a pretty good gun. It's a tactical one. Crit damage, long range damage. Yeah, that gotta be a really sick gun for Pyro.